Okay, click through or swipe. Canadian Airlines are not messing around.
Click through.
Okay, so first of all, they are a little bit messing around because I think it was WestJet or Air Canada just released their schedule, and they claim that they're going to be flying to the US starting like next month.
What?
Which like borders are locked and they're scheduling passenger flight to the US. Anyways, that's the bad news, I guess, or I don't know if it's bad or good. But the other news is both Air Canada and WestJet are currently blocking the sale of immediately adjacent seats in economy class throughout the entire plane. So that means the middle seats are now off. Nobody's sitting in middle seats.
But what if you know each other? What if you're a family?
I don't think that matters. I think they just do it just as like a default.
Huh.
That's a good question. I don't know for sure, but the article didn't mention it. Also, everybody flying on Air Canada gets a complimentary kit that includes hand sanitizer, antiseptic wipes, gloves, water bottle, and now, as is federal rule as of June 4th, face masks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, to minimize customer-employee contact, pillows, blankets, and alcohol are unavailable, so no more drinking on planes, which is going to be an experience for some people. You only get bottled water as far as drinks. Only people on international flights are getting a boxed meal. No multi-course meal anymore. They're going to do infrared temperature checks. That's going to be required for all international flights, as well as those flying within Canada. And passengers, flight crew, and airport workers, this is the big one, must wear non-medical masks or face covering at all time except for when they're eating. So everybody on a plane, everybody in an airport will be wearing a mask by law.
I mean, okay, yeah, okay. But when you're on a plane, are you not just breathing circulated air?
Yes.
Like, are they putting in filtration systems to try to... Because, I mean, almost every time I fly, I get a cold.
No, they're not.
Oh.
Doesn't... Like, I don't know. I don't know what the science of that is. Is masks enough? Does it matter if what you're breathing is recycled air? I mean, when you're sitting indoors, it doesn't matter what... Like, it's all recycled air, essentially, anyways.
Yeah. So do masks help you indoors? I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
I think they do.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's why they say you have to wear.
So what, like that family gathering where they had like whatever 30 people and 15 got sick, you think if everybody was wearing a mask, nobody would have got sick?
I don't know if nobody, but probably less. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the stuff that we've been looking at, like that article we read the other night that said like all these studies have shown that like literally just wear masks and everything would be reduced by like, it'll give us 18 months runway essentially.
I wouldn't get on a plane.
Yeah, when's the next time you would get on a plane? How long before you get on a plane?
I mean, I don't, but the thing is, I don't really like flying to begin with, so I'm not like dying to get on a plane and go somewhere. And anyone that I really want to see, I could drive to them. I mean, in the summer, maybe not in the winter. But I could drive to them.
What has to happen for you to go on a trip to like Mexico or Hawaii?
Oh. Yeah. Oh, Hawaii, that was twisting my arm a little bit. Like if someone's like, here's a free trip to Hawaii, I'd be like, ooh.
Ooh, COVID.
Really? No, I wouldn't go, but I'd be so disappointed. I mean, I'm not even takeout. Why would I get on a plane?
That's what I'm saying. What would it take? Are we just like vaccine plus X amount of time to see if the vaccine works and how many people are getting sick?
We're in such a privileged situation because I wouldn't rather be somewhere other than here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
What if you're stuck in like...
Like, if I was, you know,
Wisconsin.
like your friends who are stuck in Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, the minute planes opened up, I'd be like, and I'm on.
Yeah, when
now.
you're trying to come back home, for sure. So
Yeah.
I have a couple of poker playing friends who went to Mexico to just live for a few months, play some poker, online poker. and now they've been stuck, and they've had 2 flights canceled under them, and they're just hanging out because they have no choice.
Yeah.
And hope to not get sick, because you don't want to get sick in another country.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, in a good time, you don't want to get sick in another country.
Okay, C-tier swipe. Miami sounds the alarm on COVID.
Swipe means pass?
Yeah.
Swipe.
Clearly we're the age where we've never been on Tinder. Okay, swipe.
Yeah.
Your 40s won't save you from stupidity.
What? CT.
So about a week and a half ago, Jacksonville, Florida of all places where all the best stories come out of. About a week and a half ago, they opened back up their society, whatever. So a large group of 40-somethings decided to celebrate the opening of society in the most obvious way that you would after months of isolation, by going to an indoor bar and spending the night singing, drinking, dancing as if the pandemic was completely over all of a sudden just because the government says we're open now. No masks for anybody there. Can you guess the results?
I want to know. What's the results?
8 days later, I shouldn't be laughing. This is not funny. It's just ridiculous how silly people are. 8 days later, all 16 have tested positive for corona, with many of them having difficulty breathing.
Oh.
The worst part is that one of them is a healthcare worker. And had
Oh.
spent like months isolating, doing the right thing, went out,
What?
and the first night out decided to go to a bar, party it up as if just shit was just back to normal, and now all of them are sick.
It must be so hard. All your friends are going out and you just want to be with them. You just want to have a good time. That's how I feel sometimes. It's almost like it's not real. Especially because I spend all day working and then I don't want to be online. And I'm like, really? There's a part of me that's like...
I won't get it.
Or even like, it's not here.
Yeah.
We're fine.
And that's here where there's like less than 3,000 cases. There's
Yeah.
only, like I read today, there's only like 130 active cases in all of BC.
Yeah. But you know what? I wouldn't choose to go to a bar.
No,
because
that's
even
what I mean.
Korea who had this, they had this in the bag. They were good. And then that one guy goes to 5 clubs.
Yeah, like why aren't people looking at what's happening in the world and being like, oh, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work.
And I just think also when you're drinking, you're just not, your safety level goes down, and your inhibitions, but also your sense of what's it called?
Self-preservation.
No, like when, oh frick, I hate when we do these podcasts and I lose my words. It's so frustrating. By the way, I only sleep max 5 hours a night, so I'm in a rough state these days. No, when you think you're invincible, you're like totally invincible when you're drinking. You're like, I won't get it. I can fly.
I feel like when I drink, it's more like, I don't care if I get it. I've had enough. I don't care about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, part 2 of that story. So the bar, where minimum of 16 people tested positive for corona as soon as they opened, closed for the weekend for a quote-unquote deep clean, reopened today.
Deep clean. Someone went around and
they wiped
some
it down,
things
like
off.
just like you would expect to happen at a bar anyways, every day. Closed for the weekend, and they reopened today. America is doomed, like legitimately doomed.
I've worked in a bar before, and let me tell you, when you're making minimum wage, you don't give a fuck how dirty things are. You're just like, I just want to make my tips and get out of here. I don't care if this is clean. I would go all evening and probably wash my hands 2 times. That's why if we ever go out, I'm like, don't use the lime. Don't have the limes. Like,
yeah, that's like, I've heard that before from other. For some reason, the limes are like the big thing that like.
Well, because that's what everybody puts in their drink. Like everything else, they seem to squeeze and toss aside, but the limes they put in and mash it around. And I guess it's acidic, but still, like when you get busy, when you're having a busy night, it's so hard to wash your hands in between, and you just learn to not touch your face. Like your hands aren't clean.
Yeah.
And like all the sugar from the drinks and things like that, as it dries. Bleh.
So don't have limes, and don't assume that because your city said, hey, we're open now, that means go to a bar with 16 of your best friends and all get corona.
Yeah, don't do it.
Okay, CT or swipe. Vancouver's NHL's Disneyland.
Oh, swipe.
No hockey for you?
Just like, no.
No interest. Okay. Vegas is getting scared.
Oh, click through. Does this mean their season's getting canceled? Their party season?
Well, so a couple of days ago we saw pictures of, or I don't know if I showed you, maybe I didn't show you.
No.
Vegas opened, like the casinos all open, and so there are all these pictures on social media of like casinos packed with people. Like,
Oh, really?
As if it just like everything's back to normal. And I don't know what happened. There weren't like reports of like any numbers or anything crazy, but since then, only a few days ago, rumors are now that face masks are about to become required in Vegas in the casinos. And more, I think this is more ominous if you know how Vegas works. Smoking at the table is likely going to get banned too. Because people, like smoking at the table is like just quintessential Vegas. And that's how they get people. People will just come in, especially old people will just come in and sit there all day and just smoke their cigarettes and play the penny slots.
Ugh.
And so the fact that they like, when they even like the masks is a big deal in the US because it's like a political issue now. But then when I heard that they're gonna ban smoking, I was like, oh,
Something's happened.
That must not have gone well. They're opening.
And this is pre-COVID. I don't enjoy casinos that much. It's not really my thing, which is kind of laughable considering we're married. But yeah, I don't enjoy them. And whenever I'm in there, I always feel like my hands are so dirty all the time. Again,
They're
another place
disgusting.
I would never touch my face. And like, I don't want to eat there. I guess I drank there, but I never want to play any games. I just don't want to touch anything. The whole time there, I don't want to touch anything. There's too many people there. And then, like, again, another place where the air is just being circulated and people are just like...
Yeah, like heavily air conditioned. It's like the most air conditioned place in the world.
Yeah, and then your nose is running, so you want to touch your face because it's so freaking cold. It's like, no. I think I've only been to a casino like 3 times.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. Maybe I went a couple times in Edmonton. But no, it's not for me.
I've been like 400 times.
I know.
But it was work. Well, the later years.
Yeah, the later years.
The later years were work. The early years are being a stupid 20-something.
I missed my chance, though. I really thought that, like, your World Poker Series tour things, whatever it's called.
The World Series of Poker?
That one. Yeah, I didn't think that would end. So I thought, like, oh, I'll go next time. Like, I never... Because you used to always go. I just never felt like I needed to go. Anytime
anybody tells me I'm going to Vegas, my first, like, just like, without even thinking about it, just like, why?
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah, and my sisters go and they like it. And I guess it's a different experience than I've had. But, like, I don't know. Once you go a couple of times, I don't know. I know people who have gone, but usually, like, partiers, not, like, heavy gamblers, like poker players. Poker players, all for the most part, hate Vegas. Like, we go there because it's business.
Yeah.
But you just see, like, the cesspool of it. It's disgusting. It's honestly disgusting.
Yeah, I think, like, I always wanted to go party there, especially my, like, party days. But then I was always so afraid something really bad would happen to me. So I just never... I mean, something really bad probably would have happened to me. I'm not the best keep it together type of drinker.
You would have been one of those, like, belligerent on the casino floor.
I would have been a statistic. Like, no, I just never... And then when I got older and I wanted to go, then I became so like, ew, that's too expensive. Like, I'd want to go to see shows. And when people are telling me the price of things, I'm like, ugh. Like, I can have such a better time here.
Yeah, and like going to gambling, like, I get it that a lot of people don't, like, they don't get to gamble anywhere else. Like, it's illegal. But, like, here it's legal.
Oh, it's illegal places?
Yeah, tons of places.
Really?
Don't have casinos or anything.
We are so lucky. We're just
I don't think that.
But I mean, like,
personally,
just,
that's
like...
what I was about to say. Is like, as someone who like knows how the casinos work and like everybody knows the house always wins, but I kind of know like the deep down the percentages and like how it's just a trap, like a giant like you're going there to have less money when you come out, like not just your trip, but any dollar that you put in a casino floor, you're very unlikely to come out with.
I mean, but we're just lucky in that I feel like our government recognizes a vice is a vice is a vice. Like, if you don't give their people, if you don't give your people their vices.
I don't know. I think our government just wants their cut.
Yeah, that too. I'll give you that.
I don't think they're doing it out of like a bleeding heart. Like
no, but other places they'll be like, no, it's not good for you. You don't get to have it. Ours is like, hey, okay. You can have it, but I'm going to tax the shit out of it so that we can support my flight with my family to wherever I choose to go.
Which is like alcohol and now pot. Like they didn't give us pot because we protested for 30 years or because they realized, oh, it's actually helpful.
Yeah, our economy was slagging.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, right, we can make billions of dollars from this.
It was sluggish. I think slag is a bad term in British.
A slag? That's just like what we'd call a hoe, I think.
I think it is. I think Milo's trying to teach me that. She's like, oh, that's a bad thing to call someone. Slagging.
Okay, CT or swipe. Zoom is evil too.
Oh no, I use Zoom all the time. CT.
Zoom, which is a U.S. company.
Are they recording everything about me?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then, Zoom, which is a U.S. company, admitted to shutting down the accounts of human rights activists in Beijing at Beijing's request. Humanitarian China, a group protesting Beijing's continued censorship of the events around the Tiananmen Square crackdown, were suspended earlier this week after an online commemoration of the crackdown's anniversary. A report came out that many Western governments, including those in Canada, have already instructed public officials to avoid Zoom except for meetings that are already public in nature. So they're probably selling your stuff to China and also listening to them about who they should ban, which is the crazy part, especially because they're American.
Oh, I didn't know they were American. Why did I not think they were American? I thought they were a European company. I don't know why. That's weird that I thought that. You're giving me an eye right now. But yeah, I thought it was weird of me to think that.
Well, I just think that that's not the weird part of that story. It's that, like, yeah, whether it's European or American, neither of them should be selling stuff to the Chinese.
Yeah. But
to the Chinese government.
See, you make fun of me and Parker because we're always closing my camera screen thing. And he does it for me all the time. He always comes and he goes, Mommy, and taps it. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Someone could be watching me.
The little camera on your laptop.
Yeah. I'm always closing it. And my phone, when I get ready in the morning, is like when I change in the bathroom or wherever, I always put my phone where it can't see me. Because I know what goes on out there.
So don't say anything on Zoom that you don't want governments around the world to know.
Shit, that's annoying. Oh, just can't we find a good company to post our things that we want to say on and share it with each other?
Yeah, there's none. And like that's supposed to be the thing with blockchain. Like all these companies coming out being like, we're the good social media.
For now,
until they get some market share.
Yeah. Or until someone gets something on you.
CT or swipe. The WNBA hates their players.
So this is a hard one because I want to click through just because it's WNBA, but I don't really watch sports, so I wouldn't read it.
You definitely do not watch sports.
I mean, I watch sports because you and Parker watch sports, but I wouldn't choose to do it with my time.
I think that one was on, for anybody who wants to know about it, I think it was on vancouverisawesome.com. Okay. Well, I think we're already nearing the end here. Let's go out on top. Killed by cops, Olympics.
Oh, did the cops ruin the Olympics for a click-through?
Okay, it has nothing to do with the Olympics. I just thought that was a very clickbaity title. So here's an absolute insane stats. Death by police in the quote-unquote developed world. Death by police.
Oh, this is horrible. Oh, I thought it was going to be like the Olympics is canceled.
Has nothing to do with the Olympics. Death by police in the developed world. I assume this is in 2019 maybe, or maybe in 2020. I don't know. The UK, 3. 3. Germany.
Wow.
Germany. Nazi Germany. No longer Nazi. Well, some parts, but descendants. Germany, 11.
Okay.
Canada, 36.
Yeah. I'm surprised Canada's not higher, to be honest.
It's not bad. It's not
Proven,
good.
those are like proven killed by cops.
Yeah.
Maybe?
So Canada, 36. U.S., throw out a guess based on the 3...
Oh, I already know what it is.
3, 11, 36. How do you know?
It's like 9,000. What?
Reduce that by a factor of 10.
What? Really?
933. Now it seems like not that much. You think they're just like out there just like machine gunning people down the street.
Okay, well, I'm getting some propaganda news on Instagram. Because
Canada's 36 and the US is 933.
And we have a fraction of their population.
So US is 8x the size of Canada, give or take. So if you factor that out, Canada should have around like just under 300 to be on scale. Like the 8x scales. To be under 300, we're at 36. The US is at 933.
But I mean, really, we should be at more like close to 0. We are like, I get it, we're not 100% socialism, but like,
everyone should be close to 0.
You could call in a social worker here. We have services.
Yeah.
We have services for mental health and safety and things like that. Like, there's no reason.
But yeah, per capita, we should be, if the US was the measure, we should be at like around 300, and we're 10x less than that. So something's going on there. And then all those people who are on Twitter defending US cops or making excuses for why in other countries it's not the same, like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
So
here's, wait, before you get going on that, here's one possible reason, and I say possible loosely. Average hours of training required to be a police officer. Finland, India, Germany, Australia, all between 35 and 4,500 hours to become a cop. England, 22, Canada, 21, New Zealand, 1,900, US, 672.
oh, wow.
So compared to the top countries like Germany, India, Finland, they're like almost 7x fewer hours to become a police officer.
But that's what I was saying on that other episode, that like here they require you to have a minimum of a 2-year college diploma, and then you go from there. So they're just like trying to weed out people just by that.
It's a funny stat I saw about that. In many states, it's more, not funny, but ridiculous. In many states, it's more difficult to become a barber than a cop with a license to kill.
Wow.
A barber.
That's crazy. I don't know what to say. It's just...
That's our world today. Oh, no, there is good news. Super good news.
I thought you paused it because every once in a while if I keep talking, you cut me off and you're like, that was the end of the episode. And I'm like, oh, well, okay.
You seemed like you were
you're throwing a lot of stats and information at me, and it's sometimes overwhelming because I actually, just so everyone knows, we don't like rehearse these. I don't actually know anything that's coming. But even I used to be big into documentaries, and when we had free time to watch shows and things like that. And years ago, don't you remember that one that we watched about the U.S. Militarizing the police, but that they don't have near the type of training that the U.S. military gets. So they get all the same weapons, and they get all the same like lethal capacity, but none of the training that goes with it.
Yeah, and it shows.
And it shows.
In all their numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's like... I was thinking about here too. And like what happens if someone here has a gun? Like, remember when I'm not sure if you remember it, so Linda was telling me once, and I think I was at her house because I saw it, but someone must have called and said someone had a gun, and we were just like, so she lives on like the 14th floor, so you can look down and see a whole street view, and you just saw like men in black, like creeping in. There's a guy on a roof, a guy here, like just like a whole SWAT team just move in out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, that's how, like, I get it, they're protecting someone else, but that's how people get killed. Because what if the person didn't actually have a gun and someone just said they had a gun?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens all the time.
But it's like a whole team moved in.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, whoa, like I'd never seen that happen before. And that's probably what people in the States go through all the time. Is that someone says you have a gun, and then it's just like they don't check to see if you actually had a gun.
Yeah, and they have like, like the first state, I can't remember which one, the first state just passed a no knock law. So they were allowed to basically just bust doors, bust down doors. And, you know, if they felt threatened because the person just had their door bust down or like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
They're free to shoot.
Not messed up. I'm going to break into your house.
Yeah, no knocks,
and you're
no
not
nothing.
allowed to defend yourself in a country where you're allowed to have a gun to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to have a gun to protect your personal property. Isn't that their law?
Yeah.
And yet, if the police break in, you're not allowed to defend yourself with a gun.
Well, you're allowed. You're just going to get shot for it.
Yeah, okay. So, like, gun people there, like, I think that's you should be fighting those laws. People shouldn't be allowed to bust down your door because you could be having your guns in your place and you're just protecting yourself.
Yeah, that was the Breonna Taylor case that is all in the news now in Louisville. And I think maybe that was that's where they passed that no knock law.
Yeah, they got rid of it.
They got rid of it because of that. That's how she died. They just like broke down the door and shot her. Mm-hmm. I don't know the case as well, but I'm pretty sure it was just like the wrong house. Like it wasn't it wasn't her. It definitely wasn't her. But I can't. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the messed up situation in the States. But there is some good news. Don't lose hope. Back to COVID. Remember a few episodes or a while back, I posted that thing on Instagram where that doctor or scientist, what was he? Oh, a genome, something genome. He got an award from Obama. He wanted to work on a COVID at-home test that anybody can have. So he just posted 2 days ago on Twitter an image that's on our Instagram if you want to see. These are the at-home tests.
So you just breathe into that?
No, I think it's a swab. You can see like a swab there.
Oh.
It's on our Instagram, Social Witnessing, if you want to see it. Jonathan Rothberg. So it's like working and active, like he has it. It hasn't cleared all the authorizations, but for him personally, says his tweet was, "I can't explain how liberating it is to do daily testing. I feel like I've time traveled. Think about implementing a testing schedule, life work, so everyone is tested. It will change your life. Test. Working hard to get authorized." And someone in the comment mentioned, like, the first comment after that was, "Oh my God, I could hug my parents." And he replied to that saying, literally the first thing we did was test everybody in our family and all spread big hugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
he has 5 kids and his wife is in health services. So it was like a big deal for them.
I wonder how early it can detect.
I think like you're good. That's what he said. Like all the antibody tests, they're too late. Like it doesn't matter, or too early maybe. Because he said like people came up negative. He was just sharing a story of why this is better than what's out there, and he was telling a story about somewhere in the world where people were tested negative antibody or like that. Yeah, I can't remember how the story goes now, but basically that like the antibody testing said that they were clear. And then 3 days later, they tested positive, and who knows what happened during those 3 days.
But antibody means
it's supposed to be after, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember what that was, what he was saying. As I was saying, I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I thought the story was going to go a different way, or maybe not, but I was just kind of thinking about it. When he's like, daily testing, yay. Everyone I would know who's gotten tested from COVID is like, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
It's so gross and uncomfortable. Well, my sister worked in a clinic, so she's been tested a few times, and she's like the first time her doctor did it, she didn't tell her what was going to happen, and like Mila was saying like, why'd you do that? And she's like, if I told you, you wouldn't have let me
I know, I wish you guys hadn't told me that story, because now I always think like if I ever need to get tested.
I know, and then Bethany was telling me she went to the doctor, and the doctor said, your nose is way deeper than you think it is.
Yeah, I think someone on Twitter said it's like, it feels like the swimmer brain when you like snort water, like that horrible feeling. It's like 10 times that. But If it means you can like leave the house and hug your family. Like imagine
Yeah.
like everybody in our family that we could
Oh
test
my
them
God,
that day.
imagine like, well, I wouldn't want to do it, but if every time Adela came home and be like, hey, come here, let's
People
test
don't
you.
know. We have listeners that
I
aren't
know.
your
Okay, my
direct
niece, my niece.
direct family.
My niece, when she comes home, we could just test her and be like, hey, come on over.
Yeah.
We could have a, hey, come for a barbecue, testing in the driveway.
Yeah, your aunt. Yeah, like...
Oh, yeah, my aunt.
On-site testing.
On-site testing.
We could set up a tent out front.
We could make friends here.
I know.
We could invite them over.
Have a barbecue and like get to like play bouncer with COVID. Be like, hey, did you know you have COVID? You should go home.
People would come just to find out if they had COVID.
Make a killing.
Oh, I have a bit of a cough. I'm going to go over and see Michelle and Yaniv. And ask to come in their house.
Yeah, someone asked how long until we get this, which is the only thing we all care about right now. And he said at least a few weeks if all the regulation stuff goes according to plan. So if it doesn't, probably a few months. But still, like within the next couple months, probably definitely by end of summer. And then all the questions were like, well, like how many are you going to have? Like, are you going to be able to like ramp up production? And he didn't answer those ones. So he's hiring. Like every time he tweets any of these things, it follows it up with come apply. I think for people who deal with genetics and also programmers, which is interesting.
Interesting.
He's already developed the first like kind of carry around MRI with you. That's like
Really?
all over hospitals and stuff. Like,
Really?
Because they use MRIs to look at your lungs when you have COVID. It's like an early detection method, and so now it's just like this handheld. Looks like an app essentially.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I've had an MRI before.
Yeah.
It was in a big machine.
Yeah. Also, this is good news. I don't have the details. I didn't write this down. This just conversation made me think of it. It was only a 5-person test sample, but they used low grade radiation, kind of like what you'd get for cancer treatment on people with COVID who were like, had progressed in the COVID stage and were like at a dangerous spot. As a sample size of 5, and they gave them low level radiation, 1 dose that took like 10 to, or one, like zapping, whatever it's called. It takes like 10 to 15 minutes, and I think 4 out of 5 had like markedly, like big results, like improved significantly, essentially immediately. So
Because it killed everything in their body.
no, and they said they tested everything else, and that they don't think it's too low of a dose
Really?
to affect anything.
So it's
Like
sensitive to radiation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's way less than you would get for cancer.
Is it higher than flying on a plane?
1.5, whatever units they use. That's all I remember. I don't remember the units.
I don't know.
But it was low. It was like, it pointed out that it was a very low dose.
Is it like getting an X-ray?
Probably. I don't know. Who knows? I shouldn't even say probably. I have no clue. No hashtag science facts here.
No, we own our, well, I don't always, but we mostly own our non-science backgrounds.
So yeah, that's the positive today is radiation therapy might work. And we might have at-home testing coming up within the next weeks or months.
Cool. I don't know what I'll do with it. We'll figure something out.
I just like when you're in the midst of a panic attack, for me, like that's what I thought of right away. And I'm like in the midst of a panic attack. You just swipe yourself. Oh, cool. Done. Panic attack done.
I can just imagine you shoving something in
I
your
know,
nose.
like 18 times a day. Like maybe I got it when I was in the yard. Like you haven't seen anyone in 14 days.
Like, I have chronic nosebleeds. Like, yeah, you do.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. The world's a heavy place right now. It's not final thoughts. So much going on.
Oh, can we talk about this as our final thought? Did you see this on our Instagram?
That's like stats. That's like real.
Yeah. So we posted a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, global deaths this year, various causes of COVID various causes and COVID-19, January to May. So just this year. And it's like a moving graph. So like the first couple months is all malaria, homicide, Parkinson's, which I was surprised. I didn't know it was like,
so lethal.
yeah, that you die from it. I just thought you had it and you died because you were old. But and then and COVID's at the bottom for like the first few months, and all of a sudden once it gets going, it just starts like leapfrogging things like in weeks, the matter of weeks. And it's now the leading cause by fair margin. I think that this chart ends at like 350K for COVID and like 250 for malaria. But also the thing that everybody knows, and I got a couple of texts about this from friends who had seen this on our Instagram, drowning is like the 4th highest one. I'll tell you what it gets to when it finishes. It's just going through the rotation right now. And my comment was, yes, just another influenza, because influenza is like 6th on the list, and by like, I don't know how many a factor until it gets there, but yeah, by a factor of multiples. By a factor of multiple, that's not a real sentence, but multiple times fewer. So influenza this year has...
I can't hold that one still.
Yeah. Hold on, podcast listeners. Stay tuned. Influenza is about at 75K this year. COVID's at like 350 at this point. Influenza is at about 80K. Sorry, what did I say? Yeah. Drowning is at 80K.
Drowning, wow.
So drowning is number 4 at 80,000. I'm just like, how are all these people drowning?
You know what? I was just like, because while this is happening, which is another reason why I like stopped talking for a second, when I start thinking about it, like growing up, not as an adult, but growing up, I swear like every summer you'd hear of someone drowning or you'd know someone that drowned.
I almost drowned twice.
Yeah, I almost drowned in Australia too. Because I know that's one of the places you almost drown.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost drowned when I was like 5. And then when we were in Australia.
Yeah.
And yeah, in Australia.
Oh, yeah, kids with pools. I bet that's high.
Yeah.
But when I was
someone just drowned falling off BC ferries, like a worker.
Shut up.
Yeah. Like, I think they were just like, I think it was in port. I think they were just like cleaning it or something. And somehow drowned. I was just like, why aren't you wearing a life vest?
Yeah, like, isn't that, like, why aren't you wearing safety gear?
Yeah. And 2, like, how do you just, like, you maybe just don't know how to swim, then why are you working on boats without a life vest?
Or maybe, like, he or she hit their head.
Yeah.
Or the water is freaking cold. That's the other thing. Like, even every time we're on a ferry, so Parker and I normally catch a lot of ferries, I always think, like, what would happen? What would happen if we end up in the water? And I always think, we'd probably die. Because it's so cold. I'm like, I'd swim and I'd grab it. And I'm like, what am I talking about? I'm going to be so cold. It's going to get harder and harder to move.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, in the winter, you get splashed with water. And you're like, I need to have a hot bath.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be in the water. Like, you're not saving someone. I'm not a lifeguard.
Yeah.
I don't even have good circulation. Like, I'm toast. But, yeah, like, thinking of it, like, growing up, so May long weekend, there'd always be people that would drown. Mm-hmm. Always. Drinking and boating.
I wonder what percentage is alcohol related.
Yeah.
Like 80%.
Like when we were kids, like teenagers, kids, like that would, like something would always happen. Like I remember one summer, like a bunch of friends went up and then like one of our friends didn't come back because he jumped off the boat and swam to shore. And they'd all been drinking and then like they just never saw him again. And then another time, like none of us were drinking and we were just in the river in Saskatchewan and one of our friends, like we were just swimming across the river and like the current moves fast. Like as you're swimming, you're just watching the land pass you by. You're trying to get to the other side. But yeah, we all were swimming back and forth and cliff jumping. And then just like you get to the other side and one person's missing. Like that's just it. But there's like beaver dams and all this other stuff in the river. Like, and I don't even know if they ever found his body. Like you're just gone.
Yeah.
So I think it's, yeah, it's not uncommon when you think of it. You don't think about it because you don't think it could happen to you. But if you actively swim in open water or rivers especially, rivers I find messed up. Like,
yeah, and like all the whitewater rafters and like, yeah.
Yeah, and like just the temperature gets you too.
Yeah.
I'm not that adventurous when it comes to water anymore. Like, I think growing up I was, and then as more people drown and as I became less of a strong, I was never a strong swimmer. Oh, that's a good story. I almost drowned once when I was a teenager too. Again, we were all drinking and we were jumping off a dock, and I was not. Okay, I swam to the dock and I just want to sit on the dock, but someone pushed me off the dock and I hit the bottom and my feet got tangled in the weeds and I could stick my arms out of the water and I couldn't get out of the weeds. But my arms were out of the water.
The person would have gone to jail.
I know, but like, because they could see my arms out of the water, they pulled me out. But that was the scariest because you can't get your feet out of the weeds. But like, I was just a bit too short. Yeah, it was messed up. Ugh, yeah, prairie life.
So don't go swimming.
Don't drink and swim. That's such a bad idea.
Don't go to bars. Don't get on planes.
Sit at home.
Yeah, like John said in one of our early episodes, at what point do you just lock the door and sit inside, spend the rest of your life inside? I don't know if we're at that point, but...
I'm not at all. I'm going out way more. Way more. But the thing is, like, wherever I go, there's nobody.
Yeah, I think we're just more aware of dangers now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, we were at the park today, and our son we were playing Pokemon Go. We went to when we lived downtown, there were gyms and action, like, every block. Like, you could just walk around downtown playing Pokemon Go. But we had to drive to this park to get to a gym. And he was sitting on the ground waiting for the battle to start. And these two girls walked near him. And he just, like, looks up. I've never seen that kid get up so fast, back walking while trying to look at his screen at the same time. And there's a part of me that thought it was funny and a part of me that was so sad. I'm like, oh, like, this is, like, 6 to 7. This is part of his personality, this reaction to what's going on. And, like, I don't want him to be afraid of other kids. But at the same time, it's like, well, like, we don't know if they're safe. We just don't know.
Yeah, that's things. It's going to be a whole generation that has to work through that and, you know, hopefully not have PTSD from all this.
I think being here, though, is better because we can still be outside. Like, before we had to be, like, masked up. And, you know, it's like we're outside. I let him play on the playground. I know other parents don't, but I'm just like, what? You gotta live your life somewhere. I'm like, please just don't touch your face. And he's so aware, he just doesn't touch his face. And, like, as soon as we got back to the car, we had hand sanitizer. And, yeah, it's okay. It's just, now here we have space. We can be outside. So, yeah, we're going out lots, but not to see people. And not to eat takeout, which I'm missing.
Yeah. There's going to be, like I said, this whole generation it's going to be our job to do our best to minimize the emotional impact it has on them. And some of that is now, and some of that's going to be later when it shows up. You know, and he starts being afraid of more and more things that are like he's super afraid of bees. And I was like, dude,
he's super afraid of mosquitoes.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, have you ever been stung by a bee? It's not that bad. Like, you just get stung and it's fine. You don't be scared of things that haven't happened. And then I was like, well, COVID hasn't happened to you. You should be scared a little bit of that.
But even mosquitoes, like, he's scared of mosquitoes. And, like, when he was talking about it, he's like, they spread disease. And I was like, yes, but not here. And then I'm like, but that's a lie because, like, West Nile was in Alberta big time when I was there. This is years ago, but when I was there. So, yes. Yeah. Sometimes.
He's also watching too many nature shows. Like, they're kids' nature shows. They're like Wildcrats. But they teach him things like, mosquitoes carry disease. And he's like, oh. So, yeah, I definitely think fear is some fear issues are going to be prevalent in his age group because they're young enough where they're old enough where they're aware, but young enough where everything kind of seems so menacing. Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing we can do. We just keep him as safe as possible and try and kind of minimize the impact of that, and then just try and help him later if it becomes any sort of issue.
Yeah, and then I think just after this is over or kind of contained, we just get out there as quickly as possible and just live our lives and try to push past the fear of other things. Like, yeah, okay, be afraid of disease, but, you know, like,
You can get stung by a bee and you're going to be okay.
You're gonna unless you get
unless
your
you-
mother's allergies, and then
Unless he
you're not
has your
gonna be
allergies.
okay. You can get bit by a mosquito in BC, and you're probably gonna be just fine.
Yeah. There's dangers everywhere, but
Yeah.
at what point do you lock the door?